In the previous sessions, we discussed and talked about the device groups, the templates, and the template stacks, and we did some labs as well. Now we will go into more details to configure multiple firewalls to be managed via our Panorama appliance. So this is our topology which we will use in our lab. We have two Panorama appliances, Panorama 1 and Panorama 2. These are the management IPs for these. Primarily, we will be using the Panorama 1 appliance, and along with the Panorama appliances, we have 4 firewalls, Firewall 1, 2, 3 and 4. Out of these 4 firewalls, we have 2 firewalls in DC1, these 2, and 2 firewalls in DC2. And out of these 4 firewalls, this is our DC1 core firewall and this is our DC1 internet firewall. Same way, we have 2 firewalls in DC2, the DC2 core firewall and the DC2 internet firewall. We have different zones on these firewalls. So the DC1 or the DC2 core firewalls have 3 zones. One is connecting to the inside network, or let's say inside users. One is connecting to the sensitive servers. Let's say this is PCI zone. And then one zone that is acting as a transit zone to connect to the internet and the DMZ services. And on the internet firewall, we have 3 zones. One is connecting to the internet, one connecting to the core, and one is where we have the DMZ servers, which are accessed either via the internet or from the inside. So same kind of topology for our DC1 and DC2. So we will leverage these Panorama appliances to manage these 4 firewalls. And we will be using the device groups and the templates and the template stacks. And this is our user machine via which we will be initiating some traffic, monitoring the logs, performing some troubleshooting and anything. Now to configure all these firewalls from Panorama, we will be using the device groups, the templates and the template stacks. Now we have already seen this diagram or this block diagram in one of previous sessions, and these are the different device groups or the device group hierarchy which we will use to manage the 4 firewalls in our lab. So by default, each Panorama has a shared device group which sits at the top in the device group hierarchy. Now if an admin is adding the first device group, like the first device group in the Panorama configuration, then that will be a children of the shared device group. And when the admin starts adding the second device group, meaning there is an additional device group which an admin created previous to the second one, then this second device group can be a children of the admin added device group, or it can be a children of the default shared device group. Now note that since the policies and the objects, so these objects include the network objects, service objects, the object groups and other things. Now these policies and objects are pushed to the individual firewalls based on the device group hierarchy, and that is from the top to bottom. So designing this device group hierarchy or defining this device group hierarchy in a proper fashion so that the policies and objects are installed or pushed to the firewalls correctly is very important. So how this will impact the firewall is, now let's say based on this hierarchy we have the shared one at the top, then one device group that is for the DC1 firewalls, which is a children of shared, and then this DC1 device group has two device groups which are its children. Then the individual firewalls are assigned to these device groups for the DC1. Same for DC2 as well. Now when the policies, or like let's say the admin created some shared objects and policies, and then some policies and objects are created under the device group DC1 firewalls, and then so let's name it as this is set 1, this is set 2, this is set 3, this is set 4, and set 5 and set 6. So when these firewalls will inherit these sets, or like the policies and objects based on these different sets, how this will vary. So this firewall over here will inherit the objects from S1, or the policies and objects from S1, S2 and S3. If the admin intentionally or by mistake added a firewall or like mapped a firewall to this device group, over here, then the policies or objects as part of this S3 will not be applied to this, or like at this layer. So remember, the policies and objects are inherited top to down, top to bottom, not from bottom to up. So designing or defining this hierarchy in a proper fashion is very, very important. So this is how. So we will use these 6 device groups. The admin defined 6 device groups plus the 7th shared device group, the by default device group, to manage these 4 firewalls in our lab. Now along with these device groups, we will be using several templates and template stacks as well. So the templates we will be configuring total of 7 templates. First one, the global template. Let's say it will have the settings for the management interface settings like permitting SSH or HTTPS access or ping traffic for troubleshooting, then defining the idle timeout for these admin sessions, defining the banner and the domain. So this can be considered as global settings for all the 4 firewalls. Then for DC1, we will have these 3 templates, and for DC2, we will have these 3 templates. So now let's say DC1 has a dedicated syslog server, NTP server, or some other settings, then those can be mapped to a individual template. Let's name it as T-DC1-firewalls. Then For the individual firewalls in DC1, we will create an additional template. Like for the 4 firewalls, we will have one template which will consist of the settings for the interface IPs, subnet mask, the routing, the zones, and another template for the DC1 internet or the DMZ firewalls. The same way for the DC2 as well. Then once these templates will be defined, we will use or mix these or combine these in various template stacks. Now remember, for a firewall, we can assign a template stack only. A template cannot be assigned directly to a firewall. So we will configure 4 template stacks because we have 4 firewalls in our lab. So we have this firewall, this firewall, this firewall, and this firewall. So 2 firewalls in each DC. So we will configure 4 template stacks based on these templates. So the template stack for DC1 core firewall will have this global, means this global will be part of all the template stacks. So global, then we will have the template stack DC1 firewalls, and then the core firewall for this core firewall. For the internet firewall, the first 2 templates are same, and the third one is going to be this stack, this third template for the DC1 internet firewalls. Same way for the DC2 firewalls, global is common, then this has the common settings for the syslog and NTP. So this will be applicable to both the template stacks, and then the individual settings as part of the core and the internet firewalls. Now this order, when we will be configuring in the stacks, will be like at the top we will have the DC1 core firewalls, then we will have the DC1 firewalls, and then the global. Remember, the order as part of the template stack is also important because the preference is given to the template which is placed at the top. So if a template, like if multiple templates, let's say T1, T2 or T3, and this is the order, and if these have some common settings, like let's say NTP is defined in all these settings, then the value which the firewall will inherit as part of this template stack will be from the T1, because that is sitting in the top position in the template stack. So this order, let's consider it reverse. So this one will be at the top, so this will be at top, second level, and then this will be at the third level. So the template stacks are designed in a way the more specific template to the firewall is placed at the top, then the less specific at the bottom, or like there can be multiple templates which can be assigned to a template stack. So once these template stacks will be defined, then we will be assigning these to the individual firewalls. So this is our topology, and we will be beginning in the next session to build this topology using the Panorama.